Today, we're going to answer a lot of questions about the different visas here in the Philippines. We're going to talk to Heidi and get some answers about the changes to the tourist visa, answer some questions about the 13A, and also the SRRV, the expanded courtesy, the classic, and also the SRRV without pension. And we'll dive into a couple other topics. Watch the video, you'll get a lot of answers to a lot of questions.
Hey everybody, today we're here at C&G Consulting, their brand new office that they opened up here in Robinson Mall, and we're here with Heidi.
Hi.
So Heidi, we want to talk to you a little bit about all this stuff going on over the internet, and I wanted to come to the source. What has changed with the tourist visa here?
Okay, I've seen this like memorandum. It's not really a memorandum, it's more like a reminder to immigration, and I saw it in a lot of expat groups and some of it on YouTube videos, and a lot of you guys were freaking out. So basically, that wasn't any change in the tourist visa extension. It was more like a reminder towards the immigration to be a lot stricter in terms of reviewing your tourist visa extensions. So there are no changes. It's still the same. They were just reminding immigration officers to be a lot more, strict, and then a lot more, finding out if your stay here is actually valid, where you're staying at, because these are things that immigration asks for. Especially, when you have your ACRI card, if you're staying here for more than 2 months, then obviously they're going to want your address. So other than that, there's nothing to freak out about. Everything is okay.
What is immigration, getting a visa is a privilege, right? It's not,
Yes.
There's no law saying they have to extend your visa. What can people do to make sure they don't insult or cause problems in a office of the Bureau of Immigration?
My number one rule always in dealing with government agencies, because I've been dealing with them for like 8 years, always be nice and courteous to them. Always come in with a smile. Never, there's always a lot of people coming in with really bad energy. These immigration officers, they're doing the same stuff every day for 8 hours. So the least you can do is approach them with respect and, not with a bad attitude. And another way is always know because sometimes they'll ask you questions like, where are you staying at? What are you doing in the Philippines? Just make sure you have a proper answer. And don't do anything sketchy. Always come here with good intentions. I think that's one really good advice.
If you're just an average Joe, an average guy living an average life, minding your own business, enjoying life, really you don't foresee any problems with that guy.
Yep, exactly.
There's a lot of comments about after 1 year that they might ask you to leave. Is that something?
No, that's not really a thing, because again, you can stay here for a maximum of 36 months. Just make sure you keep extending your tourist visa. So now some of you might come here in a balikbayan visa, especially those who are married to Filipinas or Filipino spouses. You just need to extend that after, that balikbayan visa expires. Just make sure you get your visas extended, at least a week before it expires, or if you can on the day it expires, not after. So that you keep your immigration standing at in a legal level.
When guys are doing their visa run, how long do you recommend that they leave? Can they leave for just an hour, like fly to Bangkok, then catch the next plane back?
Don't do that, because that would be questionable. Because they might suspect, why are you coming to the Philippines on tourist? Like, what are you trying to live here? Because obviously, if you were on tourist visa, you're a tourist, right? They don't expect you to be living here unless you have like a spousal visa or permanent residency. So the advisable is always 3 days for you to go out and then come back. But if you can't, do 1 week so that you don't get questioned. Because sometimes, I do have clients who have gone on visa runs and then they come back here, and they've been coming back here for years. They were included in an exclusion list for being, suspicious in coming to the Philippines. And if that happens, then you need to file a motion for reconsideration. Now, this is a very rare case, but just keep in mind that this can happen. So 3 days, if you can, 1 week.
You can catch a guy in a bad mood at the airport, right?
Yes, exactly. We're all people. We go through different moods every day.
So, doing the visa extensions, when you do it, have you noticed anything different at the immigration office when you take all the paperwork down?
No, since that freak out with the letter from immigration, there's actually been no changes on our end. It's all the same.
And the online extension is still available?
The online extension is still available, but immigration, it's a fairly new thing that immigration is trying to roll out. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So maybe don't rely on it so much to get your tourist visa extension, because sometimes it doesn't work. If it works, great, but don't wait until the last minute to actually access the online tourist visa extension. If you can, always do it. My rule is always at least a week before it expires, so that if you cannot get it online, you can go to your nearest immigration office and have it extended.
So a lot of fear, but really nothing.
Yes, exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about the 13A visa.
Sure.
I get a lot of questions about this. It's a long process to get it, right? You have to, well, take us through it from the probationary on. How tough is the process?
Okay, first you gotta get married. And then
That's a hard thing.
That's
People
a hard
forget
thing.
a lot of costs there. You're not saving money going to 13A.
I've never actually considered that perspective. Yeah, you actually have to spend for the wedding, so I'll take that into account when I'm comparing SRRV and 13A. So yes, you have to get married first. After you get married, your marriage certificate is gonna get sent to the Philippine Statistics Authority, which is the PSA. Once you get your PSA marriage certificate, which you can order online or you get at your local civil registry, that is one of the requirements. Next requirement is the birth certificate of your Filipino spouse. And then next is an NBI clearance. So the NBI clearance, I guess, is the longest process here, because you have to wait for, if you're doing it in, satellite offices like in Cebu, it normally takes a month or 3 to 4 weeks. If you're doing it in Manila, they can get it released between 1 to 2 weeks, or sometimes even shorter. We've gotten clients who got released in 45 days. So that really depends. So that's the longest waiting time, aside from submission to immigration. So with the probationary, those are the requirements, very basic requirements. There are other paperwork, but they're just basic information about you and your spouse. On the submission, you'll get an interview schedule. The interview will be asking you about your relationship. So make sure that you have a good relationship and your answers are basically, the same.
A friend of ours went through that. He said the gentleman only asked 2 questions of his wife. Did he treat you well? And do you live together?
Yes, yes.
Now, Jan and I had a little bit of difficulty in ours. One, we didn't have any pictures.
Okay, yeah.
Photos help. He went through my phone and saw every other girlfriend, no pictures of Janet in there. So load up photos. Any
Yes.
other advice on the interview?
Load up photos. Yes, that's also a really good way. And just, be able to talk about your relationship in a very genuine way. Because it will also ask you about what are your plans in your marriage? Like, how do you see your marriage moving forward? Because you'll be answering that questionnaire as well. So pictures, definitely, your marriage certificate. If you have kids, that's also good. Just be sure you can prove your relationship and it's not, a commercial wedding happening, because that will be the questionable part. That's just what immigration, wants to make sure of, that it's not commercial, it's actually real.
And again, dress appropriate for the thing. Don't have your girlfriend come in the sexiest outfit she owns.
Yes.
You
So
know.
always be professional when going to any government agency. Even if, I know it's hot in the Philippines, but there is aircon at immigration, but, just dress appropriately.
Some guys like to show off their beautiful wife, their beautiful girl, but tone it down a hair.
Yes.
Getting a hit at the NBI is more common than I thought.
It is.
I got a hit at mine. A couple other friends got hits at theirs. So it's much more I think it's more common than passing right away.
Yeah.
Is getting the hit. If you get one, is it something to worry about?
So normally when you get a hit, it's normally because you have common names of people who have, have pending cases or who have gone to jail. So, if you have a common name, I'm sorry, Mike, but Mike is a common name. If you have a common name, especially because names in the Philippines are mostly, Western names as well. So sometimes when you get a hit, that's usually the issue. Nothing to fear, especially if you've done nothing in the Philippines, because The NBI, or the National Bureau of Investigation, is only checking if you have pending cases in the Philippines, you have a felony. These are the things that they're checking. If you have not committed anything, then there's nothing to worry about.
Are they looking at felonies in your home country?
No, just in the Philippines.
Just in the Philippines. So
Yes.
people over worry about the NBI if you've been a good citizen in the Philippines.
Yeah. So if you get the Interpol, on the other hand, which you can also do here in the Philippines, that checks your records as well outside of your country.
But they don't use that for the 13A.
No, they don't.
So the 13A is if you have a little bit more shaky background and you want to, where the SRRV is a more in-depth check.
Yes, it is, because it requires a police clearance from your country. So not just here in the Philippines.
In the annual report for the 13A, does your spouse have to come with you?
No, not necessarily. The annual report, you can actually do this online. Basically, immigration is just checking if, number one, you're still alive, if you're living in a different place. So this is also one rule that I think not everyone knows. If you change your address, make sure to inform immigration, because you might be, especially if you're still probationary, once you apply for the permanent, if you change your address, you need to file for a change of address. Because if you don't and you have a different address, you may get a penalty like 500 or something. So make sure to do that. Also, the annual report. I have a lot of clients who miss their annual report, so every time they need to renew, they get into trouble. So it's every year. Please do your annual report.
Can you leave the country during the process of the 13A from probationary until the final permanent?
Yeah, you can leave the country as long as, so this is the thing. While your 13A is processing, you can actually leave the country. And so what happens is, if your visa gets approved, when you're out of the country, when you get back, you need to file a revalidation. Because your visa status is basically confusing at this point. You have your 13A, but you're still entering as a tourist. Even when you're not a tourist anymore, you're already a 13A holder. So you have to get that revalidated. Now, if you go out of the country and you come back and the visa has not yet been approved, then you're fine. So as long as you're back to implement your visa, which you have a window of 45 days from the approval to get it implemented. If you don't implement it, it will be considered as an abandonment of the visa, and then you have to start all over again.
The 13A, if I'm married to a Filipina here, but I'm in my home country, I'm in the U.S., and we got married online, will that work?
It depends. So if the marriage certificate does not say online, you're good. I think the state of Utah does that. You can get married online, and then the marriage certificate just says, you got married. No mention of online, then it's fine. If you're gonna do that, please remember to register your marriage either in the Philippine embassy nearest you, or you can also do that registration here in the Philippines.
Say you came to the Philippines and you married the young lady, and you went back to the U.S. While you're in the U.S., or your wife's with you there, can you file for the 13A through the embassy?
Yes, you can. Actually, you can file for the 13A at the Philippine embassy.
So you don't have to be in country to do a 13A if you're both together in the U.S.
No, but you need to be here to get your ACRI card.
So you'd get that just before, it'd be part of your plans coming to the Philippines. The only reason you'd get a 13A coming
for
in.
ACR, yeah.
All right, so let's go into the SRRV for the vets, for veterans. And what's the proper term for that?
It's the SRRV expanded courtesy.
The expanded courtesy. Has there been any changes to that one over the years, or?
No changes so far. It's more of the normal question I get is, if you serve in the military and you're under 50, is it an exemption to get the SRRV expanded courtesy? The answer is no. Any SRRV as of now has to be 50 and over. So another question is, does the pension need to be from the military? So the answer is no. As long as you serve in the military and you're receiving a pension, any pension, as long as it's a lifetime annuity, then you are qualified for the SRRV expanded courtesy. The two just has to be together.
So those type of pensions that I'm aware of in the U.S. would be a company pension, a government pension, Social Security, something where every month you're going to be getting something and it isn't tied into your investments or getting money out of your 401k.
Yes, so it has to be monthly, lifetime, and a specific amount. For SRRV expanded courtesy, it has to be at least 1,000 USD. 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, if I'm not mistaken. We don't have that in the Philippines.
Don't have nothing like that.
So that doesn't count as a pension.
So a lot of these documents, the DD-214, your Social Security benefit letter, need to be apostilled.
Yes, correct.
There's been some talk that you don't need to, that the embassy will take care of that for you here.
I've seen a couple of YouTube videos mention this. There are cases that PRA might accept this. So this is the thing about government agencies. One might accept it, the other might accept it, but a hard and fast rule with that is always follow what has a memorandum. So as of this video, the only rule that PRA has a memorandum of is all documents coming from your country has to be apostilled. Now, you do not want to comply with a document that doesn't have a memorandum yet. So just to be safe, for now, please get an apostille, and because you never know. You get it from the embassy, and you go to PRA and they've changed their minds, and you have no argument to say like, oh, you approve this for this other guy. And the only way you can prove that these are the actual documents that you need is by having that memorandum or that policy that is issued by the PRA.
Once you start the process and you pay the $1,500 or $1,400 application fee, do you pay that up front before the process, or do you pay that after the completion?
Upfront, during the process.
And
yes.
if you change your mind, you say, okay, never mind, I don't want to come to the Philippines. Is it refundable?
So the deposits are refundable. The 1,500 deposits are refundable. The filing fee, unfortunately, is not refundable.
So make sure you're going to go through with it, or you're going to forfeit the filing fee, the $1,400.
Yes, correct.
The minimum amount of pension for the veterans?
Veterans is 1,000 USD.
You need 1,000 per month.
The SRRV Classic, the one with pension or without pension, the 10,000 and 20,000. 800 if you're single. If you're a couple, it's 1,000.
So if you have an $800 a month pension,
if you're single, yes, that's fine.
and you're not a veteran, you're going to have to put 10,000 USD in a savings account?
So this one is called the SRRV Classic. So the SRRV Classic is divided into two types. SRRV Classic with pension, so that your deposit is 10,000. And the minimum pension requirement is 800 USD if you're single and 1,000 if you're a couple. So next one is the SRRV without pension, meaning you're not receiving anything at all. The deposit is 20,000, and so there's no pension requirement because it's without pension.
Somebody asked me, they said, I don't have a pension, but I have so much money in my 401k that I'm going to live off that. And my reply there is, just put the 20,000 in. Take 20,000 out and put it in the Philippine bank and get your SRRV.
Yep, that's a good way to go because it's a deposit. It's like an escrow. People think that because the money is there, you can't touch it. It's theirs. It's your money still. If you decide you don't want the SRRV anymore, you can get it back.
There are some things you can do to get the money, as in investments, property, buying a condo, buying something. What are those?
Two things, investment on a purchase of a condominium and a long-term lease of a house and lot, provided that the value of the condominium and long-term lease of a house and lot is at least 50,000 USD.
So you can use that. Now, if you already own a condo, can you apply that towards, the deposit amount?
Yes, actually better. If the condo is actually under your name, that makes the process so much easier because the only thing required by PRA is to have the annotation that that it's actually used for the deposit that you have with PRA.
The question has been asked many times, how do I get the money into the bank for the deposits? Should I bring a lump sum of cash?
Yeah, this is such a common question. So the rule is the money has to be a remittance. So remittance means it has to come from an international bank account or your bank account in your country and then remitted into the Philippine bank account. So you cannot bring cash, you cannot transfer it from your local account to the PRA. It has to be a remittance, so wired from outside of the country into the Philippines.
You could use a certified check, and I've heard you can use a personal check also, being that it's bank to bank.
As long as you can prove that it's a remittance, that it's wired, then that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Be prepared to wire it is how I would suggest.
Yeah.
That's probably the best. You want to do the things that'll keep people's eyes off of everything. They'll just look at, oh, that's good. They don't want to look at it and say, is this check going to bounce?
Yeah.
And, so many questionable things. Make it, keep KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, keep
Yes.
it simple, stupid. So one thing also, in the PRA deposit instructions, there's so many banks mentioned there, and it's a bit complicated because you have to issue a letter of intent. If you're reading the SRRV deposit instructions right now, go to the second table because that's easier. It will give you the bank account details, bank account number, address, the SWIFT number, and it's easier to wire it rather than talking to banks and sending out a letter of intent.
What's the biggest mistake people do with the SRRV in their filing of this?
Two things. Number one is not sending the exact amount. The clearing for the SRRV deposit actually takes 1 to 2 weeks. So say for example, you've transferred 10,000 USD and you didn't consider the transfer charges. Sometimes it arrives to PRA, not 10,000 as a whole. Now you have to transfer again to PRA, which will take another 1 to 2 weeks. So that delays your process. Second is not having so all of your documents, they have to be in the name reflected on your passport. So this is one complication as well because some of our clients, their bank name, say for example, your middle name, you don't really put your entire middle name. It's just basically like my name is Hazel Heidi. So if I use that name, it's usually Hazel H CAJES. But you cannot do that. It has to be your full name as reflected on your passport. Because if it's not, then we have to file a supporting document that you as the person who remitted the money and you as the person applying for the SRRV are one and the same person. This is such a common mistake, and this is something that we always watch out for.
Now, I heard of a big benefit being a SRRV holder. They have a party every once in a while.
They do have a party.
And I heard it's one heck of a party.
It is one heck of a party. There's an open bar.
Open bar.
These parties. So if you go to these parties, especially the ones in Cebu, I'm always there. It was nice the last time because there was a mass oath taking here in Cebu, which was headed by the general manager and CEO of PRA, the new one. He basically did the oath taking because after you get your SRRB, you actually have to be sworn in. That's part of the requirement. And he did a mass oath taking. It was we had 2 clients who were there doing the mass oath taking. And I think it was more momentous than having to do it in an office where it's like.
Is there a lot of support from the Philippine government? Is this something they're really pushing? Do they really want us to be permanent residents here on a retirement visa?
Absolutely, 100%. So that's why they actually have these parties, these get-togethers, is because they want to build a strong community with expats that are coming here. So not only that, but during the last PRA event, they actually announced that they now have partner merchants, restaurants, lawyers. If you're a member of PRA, you actually get discounts. And if you have that permanent residency, you're also entitled to senior citizen cards, which will allow you to get discounts as well.
Wow, that's a big one.
It's a big one, yeah. 20% if I'm not mistaken. But
Take 20% of everything you buy. And
Yeah.
also hospitals too, right?
Yes,
medical, some medical, but hospitals give you a discount out of that.
So you can also register under our PhilHealth, which will give you discounts as well in terms of healthcare. It's not a lot, but any discount is good.
It adds up.
Yeah.
In the SRRV process, you hear a lot about, the Philippines is a developing country, and all like Mexico and Thailand and everywhere in the world, you always hear about corruption.
I deal with a lot of government agencies, and I think it's so common to say that there is corruption in the Philippines. But PRA is pretty fair. It's a really great agency. They're very helpful. They're very, if we call them as agencies, obviously they pick up. So PRA is really great.
You do that consultation, and it's $25 for 30 minutes. Are you leading the people all the way through on this phone call of what they need, or do you follow up with emails and such? It's more than just 30 minutes is what I'm trying to say, if they sign on as a client.
Yeah, with the consultation, sometimes clients have questions on their paperwork. So what I normally recommend is for them to send us the paperwork and have it reviewed. And then we do that, even if, it's not during the consultation, it's post-consultation, and we do that for free. Yeah, because, information should be free, but unfortunately, I have to charge now. So I'm so sorry we couldn't give you the free consultation anymore.
But you apply that towards the fee if they sign up at that 25.
Yes.
Now, your new office, everybody, I'm going to tilt the camera back so we can take a look at the logo of C&G Consulting. Where are we located?
We're located at Unit 419, Robinson's Galleria. So that's the 4th floor, next to the food court. So if you ever get hungry, then there's just there. We're just above the Department of Foreign Affairs too, which is on the 3rd floor.
We had a banana shake at the food court. It was pretty good. I was impressed. So, walk-in clients here or appointments, both?
I would really appreciate if you book an in-person meeting. But if you want to walk in, say hi, then please come.
Walk in, say hi.
Yeah, I'm normally here every morning, so just come say hi.
Bring coffee.
Yes, with my coffee.
The extension. Let's just touch the extension for a minute. If I'm having trouble doing the online extension, will you do it for me?
Yes, we can do it for you. But the thing is, if you're an existing client, say for example, you're engaged with us on SRRV, 13A, or any engagement at all, we do it for free. Like, you just need to pay the immigration fees. If not, then we do have a little fee for like the hour that we spend there, but and then you get it the same day. So unless of course you come in the afternoon. So if you come in the morning, you get it in the same day. If you come in the afternoon, you get it the next day. We also offer business services. So for anyone who wants to start a business in the Philippines, invest in the Philippines, you can do a consultation with us on how to make that happen. We've been helping a lot of mostly Americans and corporations also from outside of the country that are coming and investing in the Philippines. And I think that's something that you should look into, because the Philippines is still a developing country, so there's a lot of opportunities, and our economy is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. So
one other question before we go. Do you have attorneys?
Yes.
Are they immigration attorneys? Is that their specialty? Is there like a registered immigration attorney?
So in the Philippines, actually, when you go to law school, it's general. So that's why the bar exam in the Philippines is actually one of the hardest bar exams in the world, because it's general. Unlike other countries, you do a specialization. So in the Philippines, it's only after you graduate where you get to do your specialization. So if you want to be an immigration lawyer, civil, criminal, family lawyer, most of the lawyers in the Philippines actually practice in a general sense, but mostly they're divided into civil and criminal. Immigration lawyers are not super common, so you have immigration consultants, but in our case, we have lawyers, because immigration also relates to civil, criminal. So definitely the lawyers that we have can assist you in any shape or form. I'm also here to assist you, of course, if you have any immigration questions.
Yeah, someday Heidi will go back and get her law degree.
Someday I will go back and take the exam and, be attorney.
All right. Guys, down in the description below is a link to C&G Consultants. Click on that and sign up for a consultation if you have any questions. Leave a comment if you have a question that I could answer for you. I hope we answered all your questions. And thank you for your time, Heidi.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. Ooh, how long was